Welcome to Watching Football Week with your host, one half of that dynamic duo, Sean Spencer, and South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer.
Don't play us if you're undefeated.
Where we celebrate past success while looking to a bright future. There's a youth movement in Washington, and they're ready to take the reins, led by firefighters.
Play aggressive.
It's a new day, new dawn, no longer the laughing stock. It's time to take them. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And you see who I'm with. My guy in steamy South Carolina, Will Kramer. Will.
Sean, I am happy to be. We are the exclusive Washington Commanders podcast on the Fans First Sports Network. And as the exclusive Washington Commanders podcast on the Fans First Sports Network, we are also the exclusive Commanders and Terp podcast on the Fans First Sports Network. And we are in March Madness season. And my Terps, the Crab Five, are dancing as a full seed on field. You go show me what is going on in Chapel Hill. You tell me this right here, buddy.
All we needed to do was make it in the door, and we're here. Don't let us get in the dance, because we're dancing. Let's go! Let's go!
I am excited for it.
What is going on, people? March Madness is here. Cam said what's up. Catherine's in the comments. So glad you guys are all here to watch this Washington Football Weekly. And yes, the brackets are out. March Madness is out. We know all these teams are in, and they're gonna be talking basketball for the next 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. But right now, we're talking football, ladies and gentlemen. Washington Football Weekly. Will, we have not been quiet this offseason. In fact, Will, we have been pretty busy this offseason, and I gotta say, after years and years of dealing with just awful picks that had you scratching your head and saying, what are they doing in the front office? In the last couple years, I'm just sitting back and clapping, like, keep it up, guys. Keep it up. Will, how you feeling right now?
Yeah, I'm feeling kind of the same way you are, where it's like there's a want to go get some guys. Like, there's some nostalgia with some players, like, oh, Chase Young, wouldn't it be so nice to have him back? But, I have a lot of faith in our front office and our coaching staff in knowing what they want and what type of players they're looking for. And, I got a little nervous on day one when, like, 2 hours into free agency, our name hadn't popped up. I'm like, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. I'm not used to this. Right. But ultimately, I believe they have a plan, and I'm okay riding with their plan.
Oh, absolutely. And look, we talked about it when we found out Adam Peters was going to come. We said, look at what he built in San Francisco. And we're seeing he is a part of what is looking like more and more of the recalibration that they talked about last year. You know what I mean? And we thought it was a rebuild, but we saw what happened and how far we went. But the moves that they're making, they're strategic moves, and I love it. Now, I too was like you on that first day and kind of hitting Twitter, X, and trying to refresh, and then we realized that somebody didn't pay the light bill, and X wouldn't. It was X that day, so I had to go to Blue Sky.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, but still, once it started coming in, it hasn't stopped. And look, I think we have to start off with that question. Will, are you happy with free agency at this point?
I am so far, and I'm cracking up at Cat's message here about Magic. Cat, this Magic also was the one advocating for them to hire Bill Belichick. So,
Yeah.
but yes, hey, I'm good if everything Magic touches turns to gold. I'm good with that here. I
Come on.
am happy with free agency. We had a lot of money to spend. We still have money out there that we could spend, and I know there was a lot of excitement of who are we going to get. Who can of these, can we go get a T Higgins? Who else can we bring in? Can we go get one of these big time corners that we know we need to replace that position with? And while we didn't go big dollar signing, we brought in two players at positions of need that absolutely upgraded. The fact that they pulled the stunner out of nowhere. Like the NFL, apparently GMs were talking about Laramie Tunsil. The Texans said, hey, this guy's available. Let me hear what you have to say. But this was not known by any reporter. So when it dropped that we made a trade for Laramie Tunsil, jaws dropped. Like,
right.
What? Adam Peters and the Commanders just pulled off another one. Rappaport was shocked. Schefter was shocked. Like, so that part's, is kind of fun. And the fact that we upgraded at left tackle in such an important position with our quarterback, you take that. You take the trade for Debo. So really not free agency, but trades is where we upgraded. And you bring in a wide receiver too, which we were so concerned about who's going to be another weapon. And I can't help but walk away right now, take a step back saying they made the team better already in two key positions. So yes, I am happy with free agency so far. What about you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. You talk about clearing things up for us going forward. You hit the nail on the head. The two positions. And if Debo was a shock, because let's be very honest, that trade for Debo, we were like, what? Okay. But there was still the Adam Peters connection. Laramie Tunsil? No. That was I'm sitting here on Madden like, oh yeah, I can get him for a second and a third. Oh yeah, I'll bring him in here for that because it works there. I did not expect that at all, at all. And I mean, I go back to when he was drafted, and I remember how high he was looked at, and then obviously the whole leaked gas mask bong rip that he took, and his stock dropped. And I still remember thinking, it's pot. I mean, however people feel about it. That's not the worst thing in the world. So when I saw him drop, I was like, he's still a great athlete. So whoever gets him is getting a steal. But I never expected us to then get him eventually one day. And to get that, and to your point, lock down that position. I mean, that is the one thing we've been screaming about over the last couple of years, getting that left tackle. Now we got it. And a veteran, I mean, let's be honest, we haven't had a guy like this since Trent. Trent Williams. And the fact that we were able to get this says culture change, says Adam Peters, all these guys are in the right place, but it also frees things up. So now wide receiver straight, tackle straight. Now we can start filling in, and we can start getting depth, and we can start putting people in places because we don't have to worry about this right now. So as far as free agency is concerned, for me, I'm to the moon about it, and let's bring it up to share exactly what moves we made. Let me see this. Yep. Let's see.
Well, as you're bringing that up, I'm just going to touch on the part about the trade that makes it even better. Is his contract right now is for about $21 million. Laramie Tunsil's is. Somebody, the Titans gave Dan Moore, is that his name? $20 million to be their left tackle. Jalen, or maybe Dan Ford, something like that. Jalen Moore from the 49ers, who has started 5 games, got $15 million. So we were in paying the same amount of money for marginal tackles. We got a top 5 tackle by making the trade and absorbing his contract. So, I love it. I love that.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you something. Speaking of tackles, and we're talking about the people we brought in, but we did lose a tackle, a guy that we've talked about that has been with us for several years, and Cornelius Lucas. shout out to him for getting paid to go over. I think it's with Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
I think he took the Cleveland gig. How are you feeling about that? Because he was a locker room guy. He was somebody that we liked. We knew he was older, and we knew he was 33, 34, moved on. But do you think this was good? Or, that probably showed us what we needed. If they moved on from him, they knew Tunsil was coming. So what did you think about that move?
I actually didn't like losing Cornelius Lucas. I was going to put that in our next segment about like what we missed out on,
Oh,
because
yeah,
he
yeah.
had the ability to play left and right tackle. Like they
Right.
brought back Trent Scott, but Scott was a right tackle and they moved him to guard out of necessity late in the season for when I think Cosme got hurt. But we don't have someone who can play left tackle if Tunsil goes down, and Lucas was able to be a very serviceable backup. I don't know. Like, we don't know right now what's happening on the offensive line. Where is Coleman going? Where is Andrew Wiley going? But I don't think Andrew Wiley has ever played left tackle in the NFL. So he's played right tackle and he's played guard. I don't know if you can simply just say he's your new swing. I don't know that the answer. So, maybe he is, but I don't know if he can do that. So losing out on a Lucas, I thought was really tough to lose someone who was so versatile for that.
That one definitely hit hard. But let's go into it. Let's look at and we can look at the signings that we made. Obviously, Javon Kinlaw in here. Will Harris, Jonathan Jones, Dietrich Wise, some of these guys. But before we hit that, I do want to talk about the fact that a lot of these guys that you see that we brought back are guys from last year. Guys that we've re-signed, guys that know the system, know what we're trying to work. That's a big deal, Will. I don't want to overlook that. That's something where I feel like these guys want to come back here and play for us, and they want to play for this team, and they're willing to work with it, and they're willing to, stay in house. That is so huge for us, knowing that normally people are ready to get out of here. What are your thoughts about that?
Absolutely. I think this is why I'm happy with free agencies. They improved left tackle. They improved wide receiver too, but they also brought back very important backups and veteran starters to keep things going. You brought back a Bobby Wagner, who was your Pro Bowl linebacker, who came back with you. You brought back Zach Ertz, who was your second leading receiver, who said, yep, I'm going to come back. You had Nick Ballora. I think, Nick, did he make the Pro Bowl? Or is he was a Pro Bowl nomination as a special teams player.
Might have been.
Love the fact that he came back. You brought back John Bates, who we had heard has said was going to have a market in free agency. And Bates even went on his thing. He's like, last year was one of the most fun times I've ever had. I'm coming back to play on this team. You brought back Noah Igbenogany, big, important role player for us. He was our nickel guy when we moved Sanders still out. He came back. He could have gone elsewhere and got more money, more years, all that. He came back. I think that's important. Last one we brought back, our favorite player, the dude who will be in the ring of honor when his career is up, Tress Way. You continue to bring back. You talked about locker room guy with Cornelius Lucas. It is some of the guys they brought back were key contributors to the team this year, and we didn't know who they were. We didn't know who Ballora was. We didn't know who Igbenogany was. We didn't really know what type of role Bates was going to have. But guys who played big roles, they came back. So I think that is part of the whole free agency haul to say, yeah, we kept some core players in place.
And to right to your point about those guys that we brought in, the Ertz, Wagner, the guys that we retained, Mariota. I don't want to overlook this. Now, obviously, there's the talent discrepancy. There's a fall off from JD5 to Mariota, but I don't think we can overlook the experience and the veteran leadership, and just that we all notice how calm JD5 was all year. I think this was the secret. Him having a Dan Quinn, yes, but him also having a guy that's been a Heisman Trophy winner coming in, who's been that key guy that's had win with the franchise, and things didn't pan out, and he's been bounced around the league, but he knows how to be resilient. I think that is so key when you're teaching a rookie that's having a lot of success. Those are the things that in-house, I know Mariota's talking to him and saying, hey, listen, it's not always going to be sunshine and roses. It's not always going to be a great day. let me show you how to bounce back from it. And so getting guys at these positions, while they are definitely great contributors, it reminds me of like Kerrigan, who was great for all those years and then came back and coached because they're that close to the game and they are at that level where it's like they got a couple more years left and each of them signed like a 1 year with us, which is great, but having them and having them be able to teach the next group, that's what's going to really help us to excel when these rookies and these guys come in. And that's what I think I love about what Adam Peters and Dan Quinn are doing. They're not just looking at this year, next year. They're looking 3 or 4 years down the line. How can we build something that can sustain? And I mean, it just lends to how great and how proud I am to have these guys in house because I mean, we are really sitting here looking at this like, woo wee, can we play tomorrow? Can we let's wait for the draft. Let's get some guys for the draft.
Yet.
But after that, yeah,
we still have
right, yeah, right. Let's solidify it. But yeah, I'm down that road, man. I'm down that road. Look, let's move right on. Who do we miss out on? Talked about Cornelius Lucas. Let me go to Jonathan Allen. Now, obviously, he gets the deal. I believe it's what 3 years, 60 mil from the Vikings.
Like
yeah. We knew that there was a possibility. Shout out to Ab. He had talked about it all throughout the through towards the end of the season. Once he got hurt, he was already trying to leave last year. We didn't want him to go, but we understand. Like, what are your thoughts on him moving elsewhere?
I think the best part here, which makes the most sense, is what you just have here. Jonathan Allen, released on March 7th, creating $16.35 million in cap. It was just a business decision with him.
Yep.
Give me 1 second. I'm gonna cough. Sorry. It was simply a $16 million is something we could use elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Or your player, your contract makes you expendable, and that's what they did. And I think you're going to see they did that with Wiley. They said we are either going to cut you, or you need to restructure. He restructured. I think you're going to see more of those types of decisions. Excuse me, out of this front office. You take over.
Yeah, no, and that's something that I think was key. That it's not personal. It is business, and we knew coming into this year that Jonathan Allen was already talking about leaving, and that was 1 year under everything that we had. Like he was ready to go. So this isn't such a shock. It wasn't such a surprise. I don't know. It's just one of those things where you just have to up and move on. And then you also look at the other moves that we're making, and it's not. This move isn't one of those that's like, oh damn, no, we let him go. It's one of those like, kind of sucks. Good luck to you, but we've made some moves on the back end. So that one, I don't think we missed out on. But again, we'll see.
I mean, from an emotional standpoint, it definitely hurt losing Jonathan Allen. I wasn't ready for that, and I think I probably would have rather said goodbye to Deron Payne, and I think they would have too from all the accounts. But it's all about the contract. Now, next year, Deron Payne has a contract that's movable. Look for him to get released next year. But what's kind of interesting then is watching what have they done? They brought back Cleveland Farrell. They brought back Sheldon Day. They actually, breaking news, brought back Jalen Holmes just as we're on air doing this.
Nice.
And he was a key contributor to that run game. So they brought back a bunch of pieces, and then we're going to talk about the new pieces in a little bit who they added to help with the run. And basically they said last year didn't work. We need to break things up and move on, and that's what they did with Allen. And so that one, it's just business. When it comes to who do they miss out on, I don't have any player that was signed elsewhere that I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. We didn't get this guy. Like, there really wasn't. There were some guys that I was hoping for. I think the only one, and this one is such a low priority, but I had my eyes on Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, the wide receiver from the Titans, and the fact that he signed, I think, with Miami for 2 years, $6.5 million. So we're not talking about an expensive signing right here. So that part I was like, man, like we couldn't go after that. But I also kind of like Mike Williams as a big target, and he went back to San Diego / LA. But that's no big deal. I mean, did I have my eyes on Joey Bosa? Sure. But I don't blame him for going to the Bills, and he got a lot of money. Like, we didn't throw out a lot of money except for Kinlaw. That was the only like big dollar contract in free agency we signed out there. So I'm not feeling like we missed out on anyone that I really wanted. What about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of feel the same way. I mean, I look at some of the signings and some of the things, some of the directions people went. Obviously, Cooper Kupp was somebody that I was kind of talking about, but I wasn't trying to pay that price tag. We made the joke about Chase Young. I wasn't really feeling like that. I wanted to see what they would do in the secondary if they were going to go after somebody big, but there wasn't anybody that I said, this is the guy I want. Like, that's the guy I want. And so, for me, it's not a big deal. It's really at this point not that big of a deal, but just because of the fact that we have made certain moves, so you can start to see what direction we're going in. And then you just look at the Debo and then Larry Tunsil, and you're just like, that's good. I mean, these are flashes I wanted, as opposed to throwing lots of money somewhere where it's a guy that maybe we like a little bit. I think the moves that they made with these guys are great. Real quick, want to say, Cameron said, what's up? Chucky's watching. Anton said, what's up, fellas? Brandon said, what's up? Brandon said, I miss Jonathan Allen in the burgundy and gold, but not for $20 million a year. Oh, yeah. Anton said, I'm glad for our safety pickup from the Saints as well. I think Will Harris. Mm-hmm. And then Anton said, 100% Sean, and it means something for all of them to re-sign that Mariota aura. So absolutely. Shout out to all you out watching the show. Appreciate y'all being in here. But yeah, no, I'm with you, man. So is there anybody that maybe we'd let go of or
no? And I think you saw that, there was a lot of money being spent on there was a lot of overspending happening here. Like, does a guy like Paulson Adebo deserve that contract that he got from the Giants, where he's getting $54 million, 18 guaranteed, or 38.5 guaranteed? No, and so it's like, we didn't go chasing just because we know we've got positions that need to be improved. We didn't just go chasing dollars to say, well, we fixed it in free agency. We've done what we were supposed to do. So at that point, I do like that. But like you said, the Tunsil and Debo trades were just as good as some of these free agents that were out there, or probably even better, because they're established players and you got to absorb their contract, which in some cases is better than some of these free agent signings. So I'm not sweating who we didn't sign.
No, I'm not either. And I'm especially not sweating somebody by the name of De'Ami Brown that I had to deal with his whole time in Washington. Look, sir, look, I am happy that you got paid. Okay, go collect your money in Jacksonville. $10 million, did your thing. I'm happy for you. All right. If you start showing up and dominating out there, we are going to have words. I'm going to tell you that right now, because I have been your most staunch supporter here in the DC area, and you have let me down. But more power to him. I'm glad they did not go and try to chase that, because we talked about that he was going to be going after the bag. He wanted to try to get paid, and hey, somebody paid you. More power to you. Well, Christian Kirk. You and I talked about him before the Debo thing. That was somewhere where I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I would love to. He's close with Cliff. He knows quality receiver, ready to get paid. I was looking in that direction. The Debo thing definitely threw that out the window, but that is, if you want to call somebody.
He got traded though, so it was out of our hands at that point.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Take Philly, man. He sit on the bench. Yeah, right? I would too. So yeah, but nobody really else that I'm thinking about.
I might teach my son how to long snap. That can be his career if he wants to play football.
Look, I'm telling you, they can't touch the long snapper. He did a scholarship on that. Let's go. Let's go. You just start practicing. All right, here we go. Snap to the daddy. Snap to the daddy. Let's go. I love it. Oh, man. Oh, Christian Kirk. You mean Kirk Cousins? I hear he's Christian. Oh, Lord. Yeah, he is. And he's still on your team.
Enjoy that expensive backup.
Right. He's still on that team. Oh man. All right, look, we're gonna take a quick breather, hit you with a quick commercial, and we're gonna come back on the other side. We're gonna look at our signings, look at who's still available, and look at what position must be upgraded through the draft. We will be right back. Yeah, buddy. That's our guy, Anton Benton, the creator of Awesome Artisans. You can find him on Instagram, awesome_artisans. He does great work. He will travel. He lives in Virginia Beach, the 757 area, but he will go up and down the East Coast and he will go through to the Midwest. So definitely reach out to him, get in touch with him. He will definitely help you with it. um, yo, but you know who it is. It's your boy Sean Spencer. That's my guy, Will Kramer. We're talking free agency. We're talking the offseason. Shout out to all you guys in the comments. I did want to read this real quick. That's where you like that came from. Kurt first shouted that out. Diet on easy. What does he say?
He shouted it during an Easter sermon at McLean Bible Church.
And the funny thing is, I can see him being at a McLean Bible Church.
That's totally the place he would have been.
Oh yeah, he would have been there for sure. Oh man, well, appreciate you guys in here joining us. We're moving down the line. Got to talk about our signings. Some of these guys that we picked up. Will, I'm going to send it to you as I bring this up. We were happy with what we've done, but let's actually dive into what does this mean for us? Like what positions does this help us with going into what we're going to talk about in a little bit with the draft and stuff?
Right. And we're kind of focusing on the new players here.
Yeah.
And what they're bringing in. So I think let's talk about the first one, the only big money signing that we had, which was defensive tackle or defensive lineman Javon Kinlaw.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone was happy with this move. I think everyone kind of looked at this and went, huh? And remember, I said to you and Ab, I said, I can't wait for this year's, like, who the heck is that type player? Well, this was more the, what the heck is this?
Right.
When it came in, you know, I will say he is a bigger body, and they clearly, by not even really going after Dante Fowler very hard, they made it clear that stopping the run was going to be part of their free agency. And some of the rest of the guys they got, these depth players, are all about that. And so I'm just assuming that they know how to use Kinlaw a little bit better. I do think he had a down time with the Jets, and he played better with the 49ers. And so I think however the 49ers used him, plus Darryl Tapp was his defensive line coach there. Adam Peters was there in San Francisco. I'm going to say, okay, I don't like the signing. I don't really like the money, but I'm going to trust that if you guys signed him on day one, you have a thought process as to how he's going to fit with the scheme. And with that, I'll go, all right, I'll give you a chance.
Yeah, that's solely how I feel about it, because I remember when I first heard it, I was like, wait, Kinlaw. Wait, is that one of these guys that was dominant that I remember from college? Kinlaw. And then I went and I looked up his stats, like you were saying, when he was with the Jets. I was like, what the? Like, oh, okay. Okay, for that contract, this is what we're doing. But to your point, one thing that we do know is they know kind of what they're doing. They know the guys that they're bringing in, and there's a certain type of pedigree. There's a certain type of temperament that you're getting. But the other part about this, and one of the things that I think was key in the fact that I don't think the Jonathan Allen thing is going to hurt us so much. One thing that we've seen last year is they play D-line by committee. they'll bring a number of guys in there at D tackle, and they'll keep that rotation going, and they'll do the same at edge. This for me fits right into what they're doing, and some of these other picks that we'll talk about, or some of these other signings that we'll talk about, where it's just like these are bodies. Now, Kinlaw might be somebody that might be on there a little bit more, but some of these other guys is just, hey, all right, he's another guy. Put him in, put him in, put him in. Now we can run 3D tackles up in the middle and really focus on stopping that run game, which was an issue you talked about that we needed to address this offseason. So, yeah, I mean, he had 4.5 sacks a year ago. But to your point, like his best years, well, shoot, actually, to be honest with you, his best year was last year. 40 combined tackles, 13 assisted, and 4.5 sacks. So they like something in him. I mean, maybe it's the size, and we've seen some of the guys that they brought are definitely bigger. But this is one of those where I'm just going to have to trust what does Philly say? Trust the process, and that's where I think we're going to have to be at with this, because this is one of those where it's like, okay, all right, if you know what you're doing, fine, all right,
right. I'm with you. Yeah, no, I feel the same way. It wasn't thrilled with it, but like, all right, you drafted him in San Francisco. You saw something to give him a first-round pick. You brought him now when you're running your own franchise. There's got to be something there, I would hope. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping there's something there. The one that kind of got me surprised but then excited, I should say, was safety Will Harris.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jeremy Chinn left for a very modest contract, 2 years, $16 million with the Raiders. We were all sitting there going like, really? Y'all couldn't give him that? Like, what are we doing here? Well, so then we signed this Will Harris, who I didn't know who this guy is. And then I saw the clips that was circulating about who he is and how the time he thumped CeeDee Lamb in coverage in the end zone in Dallas. And then you start looking at his measurables. And I'm not talking about height, weight necessarily. I'm talking about the RAS scores that he's got, these athletics, the raw athletic scores. And he is toe-to-toe with Jeremy Chinn, if not better in coverage. And I'm like, whoa. So they got younger, and maybe not younger, but they got cheaper to replace. They got the same player for cheaper, and he's supposed to be better in coverage. Like, all right, I don't know who he is, but I'm going to trust the process. You said it perfect.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I do know that hit, I definitely have seen that clip. But another thing, last year, he had 74 combined tackles with 20 assisted. What that tells me is that he's around the ball. And we've seen some of the clips, some of the highlights, but what you're starting to see is tougher, grittier guys that are around the ball that can potentially come up from whatever position they're in and really kind of make a difference. Lay the wood, let that impact be known, and that intrigues me. And then when you look at some of the other names, it was kind of like, well, Harris. Okay, I know that name. I like. Oh, okay, I like it. Okay. Still, I didn't question us moving on from Chinn. I guess I thought and this is where what they see and what I see as a fan or what we see might be a little different, because I definitely thought that they admit that towards the end of the year, I mean, he was a solid contributor to the team. So I figured, okay, they'd bring him back, but maybe they had other options. And we can't forget how he struggled early on, but a lot of people struggled early on, So, I mean, more power to him for going where he went. But to your point, it is weird that what he got wasn't out of the realm of imagination. Like, we could have done that and still been fine. So it must have been they were saying, we're good,
moving on.
Right. If we give you something and you come back, it is what it is. But they were indifferent about that. So if that's what they're seeing, that I'm good,
Right. No, I agree. Now, it still keeps me a little bit nervous about the safety room because we've lost two safeties and we've only signed one so far. But, right, that's kind of how I was thinking. What did you think about the two signings of the Patriots players, Jonathan Jones and Dietrich Wise, a corner and a D-end?
So I'm going to be honest with you, Jonathan Jones, I do not know a lot about. Dietrich Wise, though, I have seen him in time as, somebody – he is a depth player. He is somebody that could potentially move into that rotation. But honestly, that's the biggest thing that I see when I look at Dietrich Wise is the rotation. Jonathan Jones, really, I got nothing on Jonathan Jones. I'm not even gonna lie to you. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I didn't really know who either of these guys were. But one thing that stuck out to me is they were with the Patriots for like 8 to 10 years each.
Yeah.
So they were drafted by Bill Belichick. They stuck around with Bill Belichick year in and year out. That means he saw something in them. So I think there's something there. Now, you know me in corners. If you're not a certain prototype, I'm not interested in you.
Right.
And
Right.
Jonathan Jones does not fit my prototype at all.
Yeah.
But he's a strong tackler. He's a feisty player. And he's willing to stick in there and make plays in the run game, which, again, there's a theme here. What did we do with and same with Dietrich Wise? He plays the run game. There's a big theme that they're going for here with, like you said, role players. I mean, I don't know where he fits from is he corner 3? Is he corner 4? I don't think he's a starting corner right now. I don't think he's better than Sanders still because he is short. So you're not fully fixing the issue with this guy, but I think he's a whole heck of a lot better than Mike Davis. So I think from a standpoint, he's better than St. Juice, I believe. So again, for the sake of if he's our corner 3 or corner 4, we've got some depth signings here that are better. But I didn't know a whole lot about them either.
No, not gonna lie, and I'm gonna double down and go to the next guy, Jake Martin. What do you know about him?
Never heard of this guy.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. That's exactly what I was hoping you knew something because I was like, nothing.
No,
I got nothing.
No, but I do like the other guy they signed from the Bears, Eddie Goldman. So years ago, when he was coming out of Florida State, I really liked this guy. He's a big dude. And it's been a couple, he actually even retired. So he's been out of football for a little bit, but he came back. But he's just, he's a big bodied guy. He's not going to fill your stat sheet. But one of the things they talked about that the Commanders could use some help on, and that Allen and Payne are not, is that big guy that takes up 1 or 2 offensive linemen or just takes up space to allow your linebackers, your other defensive tackle, your eds to make a play. Goldman can be that guy. And we really didn't have that on the roster. They probably kept Phil Mathis last year looking for him to be that guy, and they traded away John Ridgeway. And that probably was a mistake because Mathis got cut, like 2/3 of the way through the season. They were finally just like, get on. You're not in. And so they didn't have that big body guy to be like, well, we have to run around this guy because his fat butt is just sitting there. Now they do if he makes the roster. So I guess that one I didn't mind taking the flyer on.
And the other guy that we got recently, Nate Herbig. Now I will admit, I told you this before. There was a Herbig that I was very, very interested in over the last couple of years that played linebacker, and Will has let me know that's his brother. This is not that Herbig, right? I was like, oh yes, I like this guy. Wait, center? I don't know any Herbigs that play center. Come on. But this is great depth. I like this, and hopefully we can get him in there behind Biotis as opposed to Dieter, who we also re-signed, and Dieter, who really kind of struggled. I mean, did a decent at times, but our run game was not good when Biotis was out. So maybe this will help us to keep that run game going with Herbig being in there. But other than that, I mean, this is a depth move to me. What do you think?
I hope it's only a depth move. I hope he is not the injury replacement for Sam Cosmi until he's ready. I mean, the value of Herbig is the fact that he has started before, and these are great backups to bring in, as opposed to going up, bringing in a Chris Paul as if one of your guards gets injured. So I certainly think from a depth perception, from you're bringing in a someone who has experience playing in this league, great. He was injured last year, which is also why he was available. So you got to be concerned about how he's recovered from the injury. It was pretty devastating. I don't know if it was Achilles or his knee. It was something pretty big. But like I said, the fact that he's played before, started games before, that's a good backup.
And I absolutely like that. Handy, you know what else?
I don't understand half of the jokes Anthony's been putting out here. I'll be honest, Anthony. The something about the hair products, you ain't gonna. Yeah. I ain't gonna understand that.
Comic relief, Andy. Comic relief. Yeah, you do have jokes. Absolutely. Oh man. Yeah, those were our signings. Will anybody else that I know a lot of people we re-signed.
Yeah. No, I think that's about it.
Yeah. So that's all that. So analyzing our signings. So with those guys that we've picked up, now we go to the other side of it. And I'll bring this up and I'll let you start first. Is there anybody right now that is still available that you are saying to yourself, if we're still looking, I think we should go in this direction?
Yes. I am not satisfied at cornerback right now.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't want to go into next season with Mike Sanders still as our outside corner. Love that guy. I want him to be able to play in the slot where we drafted him. And so there's a couple corners that are out there that I got my eyes on. One just got cut, Chidobe Awuzie. He has previous experience in Dallas, so I'm curious what Quinn thinks of him. I really liked Kendall Fuller when he played here. I mentioned him weeks ago on our show. If he'd be willing to come back for a third time to DC. I saw another name out there. The guy's played before, and I'm pretty sure it's the one that has two hands. Shaq Griffin.
Yeah. I knew exactly what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
I mean, he's got starting experience, and so if this is a guy who's going to be either your corner 3 or he's going to vie for the starting cornerback job with a draft pick, I'm okay with kind of that mindset, and maybe that would lower whether we need to draft a corner in the first round or not. So I do think I'm not done at corner, and I'm hoping this is when we can get some value deals. Plus, they still got two of my guys out there that I mentioned, and for cheap contracts, Rock Yassin and Caleb Farley, both still out there. Bring them in and let them earn their spot on the roster. What about you?
Oh yeah, they're definitely out there. Wait, you don't want to bring back a Fabian Monroe? You don't bring this guy back? Or you want an Eli Apple in there? No, not at all. Yeah, no, I see these guys there. Jeff Okuda, I've talked to you about him, and in the land of these corners that are available, the top corners, he's the youngest at 26, but obviously we know there's injury issues. Rasul Douglas, those years he played with Green Bay, I'd be interested, depending on the price. Gilmore, I have my eye on. Tre'Davious White, he's had 8 years in the league, played in Baltimore last year. I mean, if we're bringing in a guy that we know can play opposite of Lattimore and get in there right away, I'd be interested in that. That corner is huge for me as well, because I think that's somewhere where we definitely need to be focused on. I also slightly look here at running back. And for me, and I talked to you about this before we got on, Jamal Williams. We talk about character. We talk about somebody that brings some levity to the locker room. We've seen what he's done elsewhere, but he's also a solid performer. And then I saw another guy on here. You mentioned him to me. Any other day, I would pull the trigger immediately. But with these two recent injuries, with his knee injuries and the most recent one looking as bad as it did, Nick Chubb, Will, would you, if we in fact maybe moved on from Brian Robinson, would you get a Nick Chubb?
Well, I don't think we're moving on from Brian Robinson. So what does Chubb bring to the table that Eckler and Robinson don't already are? Yeah. I think we need something at running back, but I don't think he's it.
Yeah. And you know where I stand at running back, going to my Tar Heels, getting a Marion Hampton if we can do that. But and that's something that I have to agree with. And we've talked about it a lot about potentially, what are they going to do at running back? How do they feel? And we know the fans have been like, cough their head. They're, the fumbles, yada, 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 get them out of here. But what we've seen is that the coaching staff likes these guys, Obviously Eckler, but definitely B-Rob. Towards the end of the season, Quinn paid extra special attention to him and really got him going. And we'll see what happens. I'm sure they're going to try to keep working with him this year. But I do think that we do need to, and I've talked to you about this, light a fire under these guys.
Mm-hmm.
We got Rodriguez back on, I think, a futures contract. We re-signed McNichols.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to be the answer long term.
No.
So let's definitely move on, and that's something for the draft. But every once in a while, I do like to take a look and see what backs are out there.
Yeah.
But again, there's none of these guys that you're sitting here like, yes, I want that guy. You know what I mean? Like an Amir Abdullah, Jacob, Chase Edmonds. Some of these guys that have skill. Chase Edmonds, I know he played at Arizona. Did he play at Arizona? Yeah, with Cliff. So familiarity, but it's just not one of those places that, even though we think there's an issue there, it's not a glaring hole for all things that we've seen from their perspective. They think we're good here. If we upgrade, we'll do it in the draft or later. Or at least that's what they've kind of showed us.
Right.
So,
I think to Anthony's question here about where was this? I think because Thomas Dimitrov was helping him in the draft room, and guess who's not in the league anymore? But, I'm still not. So what we're not sure about right now is, where is Brandon Coleman playing? Are you moving him to right tackle? If you move him to right tackle, what are you doing with Andrew Wiley? Is he your Sam Cosmi replacement, which means Nick Allegretti is your starting left guard? Is that good enough? Is Coleman moving to left guard? And now you still need an injury replacement for Sam Cosmi. That's the part we don't really know about what's the plan at offensive line. So I'm still looking at veteran guards who played many, many years before that can come in here and be the injury replacement. Brandon Sheriff, Will Hernandez, Mark Glowinski. Those guys could come in and play for 4 or 5, 6 games if that's what we need for Cosmi. I don't know if they'd be better or worse than Allegretti. I'm not really one to say that Allegretti should be a starter on our offensive line. So I'm kind of really not sure about that. And then, I will also say this, you went into your running backs and how much you like that. Wide receiver, there still are some names out there. Would they be willing at this point now in week 2 of free agency to say, I'm going to go to a winner and I'm going to take a 1-year contract and I'm going to prove myself? And I'm looking at Stephon Diggs. I'm looking at Amari Cooper. I'm looking at a Tyler Lockett. But I'm also looking at, if we're worried about size, even though we brought back Noah Brown, Tyler Boyd from the Titans, big guy, red zone target. And then the slot guy you really like, I heard he was
Rondell.
visiting teams, but he hadn't signed yet, I don't believe, is Rondell Moore. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anton Benson, that's your dude.
That's
Rondell Moore. And then that's where I'm looking at, because now in my mind we have our main 2 wide receivers. So let's bring in guys that are going to come in and be able to pick up what a Jahan Dotson was supposed to be. So I'm looking, yes, at Rondell Moore, Elijah Moore. You and I talked about him, in his time in Cleveland, and he was, he's only 24, about to be 25, but he was a stud coming out of Ole Miss. Josh Reynolds, somebody that's bounced around the league, that always seems to find himself in good situations. I think he was with the Jags. Was he with the Lions a couple years back?
I think so.
And then obviously Robert Woods, another guy that gets around, that he's hurt us many years. He's going to be 33, so obviously he's on the bad side of 30. But at the same time, with Debo and Terry taking a lot of the attention away, and Ertz, you're going to have one of these guys that's going to be that slot guy that's going to potentially be able to come in and really make a killing. You look at what Noah Brown did, and Olamide Zaccheaus, and even Diami got attention because they were putting attention on our guys that were contributing more. That might be something where you get a guy in here, now you have studs at these positions, this guy can make a killing. And then he'll go off somewhere and say, hey, I want $20 million because of my one good year in Washington. But we'll be benefit from that. I'm good with that. So, Mr. Ellie, yeah, Texas was back.
Never forget.
Let's go.
Never forget that.
Oh yeah. So, and look, at the end of the day, a lot of this, it's kind of guessing where they're going. I think a lot of the moves that we've seen with the people they brought back for depth and the bigger moves that they've made, the Debo, Larry Tunsil. Okay, now like I said, we're good. We have those positions, and it's kind of fun to look at, see. Okay, well, I'm still not okay here. I'm still not okay there. So it's like, where do I want to go? Where do I want to go? But I think for me, and let me know how you feel about this. For me, if we don't do anything else in this free agency and wait for the draft, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I think I'm good. I mean, would you? Is there anybody that you?
No, no. I mean, there's big name wide receivers out there, but I'm not sitting here looking at stuff. I guess maybe I'm still a little worried about corner and having good enough depth there. But I know. I mean, we're kind of at the point now where we're starting to focus now on the draft and what moves can we make there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it's a perfect segue because look, we need to know what positions must be upgraded through the draft. I'll start. I've talked about it. I think running back is somewhere where even if we don't get a guy that's number one, we need to get somebody that's going to light a fire in these guys to know. Look, B-Rob, and even I don't think Eckler is closer to being on his way out, but B-Rob definitely. We've all talked about it. Get somebody in there that can challenge that position because that's going to be huge. Never opposed to my line, obviously, but I'll send it to you because I think the main focus for us, we got to go secondary and be it either safety or corner in the draft. So what positions do you think need to be upgraded?
Yeah, I think we need to focus on our defense early in the draft because if you look at the problems we had our corner and our pass rush, we haven't addressed that yet.
Yeah.
We brought in a bunch of rotational pieces to play defensive end, but Dan Quinn said he wants to attack the quarterback. Dietrich Wise, Eddie Goldman, and Jalen Holmes are not attacking the quarterback. Javon Kinlaw is not attacking the quarterback. No. So you're going to have to draft a pass rusher. And I believe they probably looked at this and said, we can pay Dante Fowler $8 million, or I can go draft someone to do the exact same thing that he did.
Yep.
We'll go with the cheaper route. Same with corner. We could go overpay for Paulson Adebo, or I could draft someone who's just like him and pay less. And those, I think, are the two positions I really feel we need to focus on first because those positions are going to get on the field first. And then right after that, I'm with you on running back, is we want to bring in something because B-Rob's contract's up at the end of next year. Same with Eckler. He's getting up there. And to push these guys, or if one of them just gets hurt, to have someone who can keep things going is important.
Yeah.
And this is a loaded draft class, so we want to take advantage when there's a lot of talent. And so I think like running back is, after fixing those two holes in the defense, running back is a really important piece that I hope we are able to address as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then, obviously, for me, O-line, I love my linemen. You know what I mean? So definitely somewhere where we're talking about, yes, we have that left tackle. Let's see what Wiley does over here, but we know Cosby's going to take some time to get back, so let's get depth at those places. We have Biotis at center, but let's get swing tackles, guards, things like that. So we could have guys that once, if somebody, God forbid, somebody gets hurt, that guy that comes in, it's not a big drop off, you know? So definitely do that. And then obviously wide receiver. Yes. If we don't make a move and go after Rondell Moore, if we don't make a move and go after, Diggs, your boy, or if we don't make a move, go after one of these guys, there's plenty of wide receivers that are out there that we can definitely bring in to be our number three. And I think of teams like Seattle when they brought in Jackson Smith and Jigba, and he was their number three for years. And now all of a sudden he's moved up because Lockett and DK are gone. I look at Romo Dunze over in Chicago, a guy that's a stud in college, but comes in and is a slot number three. McMillan in Tampa, he torched us in that first week. That, I think, now you have Debo and you have Terry, who at the very least can be decoys to bring in this guy out the woodworks. And then if you have JD5 having this guy streaking down the field, come on now, So wide receiver and O-line, I think, are two crucial spots. And something that I think is just going to help just keep to solidify the team. But I'm with you as well. secondary. We got to get somebody that's going to do what Ron Rivera thought Emmanuel Sport was going to do. Be be a ball hawk, somebody that could get turnovers, and that's something that I feel like either I've talked to you about or I've heard them through some of the reports that they really want to create more turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stop the run, but also create more turnovers, create more opportunities for that offense on the field. So I definitely am interested in defense, but O line always for me. You know how I stand.
Well, and I love your thought about wide receiver. Like I probably am out on going early with that, but there's always wide receivers that fall. There's always the De'Ami Brown situations in the third round, where it's like you find, hey, this guy has slipped, and let's go after this guy now and bring him in. And like you said, that guy who could do something other than what we have on the offense already, a burner or a big wide receiver. I'm probably leaning more towards who can be that quick guy that, just like you said, if the attention's being made on Terry, he can get behind him and the defense doesn't realize it, So it'll be interesting to see where they go with that. But, I think, that right now I'm looking at corner and DN. Like, we haven't fixed the problem yet. So now I don't think free agency is going to land it now. So now we kind of start turning my draft focus towards some of those positions.
Oh yeah. And one more, and I know we've re-signed Zane Gonzalez, so I'm good. But I've talked to you about this since I made the prediction at the beginning of the year that one of the best parts on our team was our kicking team, and that was one of 6 kickers that we had. I want us to go and get a college kicker. I want us to get a guy that's pure, that can come in here and at the very least work with Zane, test Zane, and really, if we can get him on the field and get somebody that we can use for a couple of years, I mean, that would be ideal. So if we can go in that direction, I'm definitely down for that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Use that 7th round pick on one of those college kickers, the kid from Auburn or a couple others. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I mean, there's so much out there that we know they're trying to do, and at the same time, free agency is not over. We don't know if they're gonna stop going after guys. I mean,
or what if the price tag for Trey Hendrickson comes down?
Because apparently it came out that the Bengals are going to try their best to get Chase and Higgins in there and have them both making 70 or something like that. And I'm like, you guys have like 36 in the cap. Like, how are y'all going to play this? But yeah, Hendrickson might be the casualty for that. And that's your guy. We'll see if he comes.
Ooh, I love this.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about Elijah too. He is a talent. Did he re-sign with somebody, or did he sign with somebody?
I believe at the moment he's a free agent.
Is he still out there? Because he was someone. Elijah Moore was someone that we were really interested as well. I mean, he's Rams named perfect landing spot. I don't think he signed with anybody yet.
As a matter of fact,
we're with you, Sean. We agree.
As a matter of fact, give me one. Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, Elijah Moore rookie card.
Yeah,
yep, I got it. Now, mind you, I also have Jahan Dotson.
Oh man, what up?
And wait a minute. Wait, where is he? There he is. The GOAT. Samuel Howell.
See, Sean, you needed the Commanders to trade for DK Metcalf so that you could wear your Howell jersey to games, and people be like, "Oh, he's got the DK out there."
One fuller, baby, let's go.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking for that Tressway Commanders 5. That's what I'm on the hunt for.
I'm telling you, and people will be like, "Oh, wow, you got the new one? That's right. Yeah. Walk this way." No, it's like, wait a minute. I didn't know his name was Way. What? Right. Oh man. Look, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and let you go. We appreciate you being with us on this Sunday, special Sunday edition, talking free agency, talking a little bit about the draft. We will be coming with you in the coming weeks as we get closer to the draft, as free agency kind of winds down, and kind of letting you know if we make any more moves or what direction we're trying to go. And then once the draft happens, We will be then going down towards the regular season and the Super Bowl run.
Mm-hmm.
Calling it now. Let's go. Super Bowl or bust, baby. That's what we're doing. So look, with that being said, we are going to get out of here. For my guy, Mr. Will Kramer, you know who it is. It's your boy Sean Spencer.
Trap 5.
This year's champs. This year's champs, baby. Okay. We're gonna play in first, and then we got to play.
What happens?
Yeah. We'll see. Look, I'm just glad we're in the door. All right, Hubert, your job is safe for one more day. All right, let's go. All right, we're out of here, people, and you know how we go out. Left hand up, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.
Gibbs, you got a good chance. Let me tell you something about some good fans. Back in the day, RFK was our palace. If you don't know, you need to ask about us. Think we're gonna lose? Well, I can't believe you doubt us. Had the whole crowd screaming out, "We want Tyler!" Those haters can't stand us. Left hand up. Who are we? Commanders. We fight for RDC. Who are we? The Commanders. Left hand up. Who are we? Burgundy and gold. We rock that. Our offense, you can't stop that. Right in front.